Suzanne's Paparazzi Jewelry, 24/7 shopping available. 160920 is the code. Show her some love, like she showed us.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Coast to Coast Entertainment Network. I am Ace. Okay, there's Isaiah. I knew he was here. And you are watching another episode of Kicking It with Isaiah and Ace. Tonight, I am very super excited because one of our special guests is back, and I've been waiting for him to come back in a minute. So I will introduce him here in just a second. Isaiah, how's your night going?
Ace, get ready for a awesome Saturday night here in the Pacific Northwest. As you guys can clearly see, I am not doing the show from my home for the very first time. I am doing it outside of my house. I am in the Pacific Northwest in Seattle. It's been a blast the last like 4 or 5 days up here in Seattle. I love the Pacific Northwest. I've grown to love it so much the 4 or 5 days that I've been here. And Ace, I got to tell you this, you live in Oregon, you live in the Pacific Northwest. And I got to say, like I was telling Callan and James last night, I want to move to the Pacific Northwest. I'm done with California. It's dry weather and it's, the heat and stuff. Like Seattle is an amazing city. It's lovely. First of all, it's the capital of coffee, which, that's my taste right there. And then the weather's beautiful and stuff like that. But I've grown accustomed to this place. I never want to leave this place. But, can't wait to do this show tonight. And, can't wait to do this show before my big exam tomorrow that will basically determine if I did get the Alaska Airlines job or not.
Well, let me tell you. Seattle's not exactly the capital of coffee. It was Starbucks was founded there. It's not the capital of coffee. But anyways, let me go ahead and introduce our special guest tonight because I'm super excited because he's back. So welcome in Callan. Callan is here.
Standing ovation. Woo!
It's nice to be back and good to see you both. How are we doing tonight?
Absolutely fantastic. What do you think about Isaiah's little coffee capital there?
No comment. And the fact that he calls California hot when it's let's stop.
What is the weather like in California right now? Is it actually?
Good question. It is currently down here in San Diego. It is currently 65 degrees, and the weather's going to be in the high 70s tomorrow.
Has it been hot though?
No,
it feels like you're living in a volcano every single day.
What?
It feels like you're living in an actual volcano every single day. That's why when I came here, I was like,
76 degrees is not that hot, Isaiah.
I got to blast, for me at my house, I got to blast the AC every day because it's like hot. I'm sweating. Can't even go out to play basketball without having to.
Well, you would brick every shot anyway. So there you go.
So Brandon wants to know if you went swimming with the sharks yet.
No, I haven't. But yesterday I almost, I was scared to death because I went to the Climate Pledge Arena, the home of the Kraken, to explore the place, and I went there too late, and I was running for my life for about 3 blocks because there was literally nobody but homeless people on the street, and it was dark, and I was on a call with Callan and John, and shout out to Callan and John for like keeping me company and like kind of easing my fears over there, because if I was on a call with them, I probably would have been, hitting up a therapist right now.
I think you might need a little bit more than that. But anyway, if we go ahead and let's jump into it, I kind of wanted to make some surprising topics. And the only reason why I like sometimes making surprise topics is simply because you never know what this guy in Square 2 is going to say. You just don't.
That's a scary thought.
Yeah, exactly. But this first one, and at the end, I do want to say that we're going to have a very special kind of topic for you. Callan, you're going to get to tell your whole great spiel about how it went as
Awesome.
the PA for the Angels. So I'm actually very excited about that. I can't wait to hear that.
Thank you.
Oh, Will's here. Just joined.
Hey!
Callan looked like he was about to cry while Isaiah was talking. Figured I'd say hi. What's up, Will? Hope you're having a good night. Absolutely. He's always ready to cry. So this first topic, completely random, but when I saw it, it like caught my eye, and I was like, I really, really want an interesting topic. So this has to pertain to Amazon's Alexa, right? So the reason I'm bringing this up is because now they're going to make a new feature on this Amazon Alexa that it can have a mimic voice of a dead relative.
Ooh.
Yeah, so they really think it's a good idea that they're like, we can give you this little section here to where if you want to put your dead relative's voice on there, you can listen to it on Alexa. I'm not so sure I would like that. So, Isaiah, what's your thoughts on this Alexa?
It's creepy and cool at the same time because on the one hand, it's like, okay, it's something that has rarely been done before when it comes to the technology field. So it's like, okay, it's innovation at its finest. But then on the other hand, it's kind of creepy because I'm pretty sure some people would be like for their dead relatives, right? They would be like, it's just kind of creepy to hear, the dead speaking to you. But for some people, I mean, they would love it because a lot of people, they would find it really emotional to see and hear from their dead relatives. But I think like a one-time thing is for me like more than enough. But if it's like an everyday thing where you're like you're telling, like, for example, you tell Alexa, hey Alexa, get Alexa, what is one, or yeah, Alexa, what should I do today? And then it's your dead grandma that's speaking. It's like if it's every day, then it would be kind of freaky. But I think like if it was once in a while, once in a year, then it would be cool. It reminds me a lot of and I know Callan and Ace are probably going to laugh at me and think I'm ridiculous for this, but it reminds me a lot of Kim Kardashian and Kanye West. For Kim Kardashian's 5th or 40th birthday, Kanye West actually got her a hologram of her late father, Robert Kardashian, and it actually was really cool because you could see and you could hear the dad just being like, hey, Kim, I'm very proud of you, of what you become and all that stuff. And that was, I think, really cool. So to hear it like once for maybe like an anniversary or a special occasion, it would be great. But if it was like a constant daily thing, then it would just be like, for me personally, it would probably be a little bit creepy.
All right, so we have a few comments here. So Brandon's saying Isaiah should get Callan's voice for it.
Oh, jeez.
Hey, I'm going to be announcing airline boarding, so yeah, okay. Maybe I should.
And then Will saying, if I hear Graham's voice start talking to me out of nowhere in my home when she's been gone for 7 years, I think I'd soil myself. And then Will is also saying that he wants Callan's PA voice on his Alexa.
Oh, man.
So, Callan, now this comes to you. What's your thoughts on this, that you can have a dead relative's voice on Alexa?
I am actually in agreement with Isaiah. I think it'd be cool, but it would also be more creepy than it would be cool if it's a constant daily thing of like hearing someone say, oh, you have to be at work today. You have to be here today. You have to go here today. And especially when I know if there's going to be there's weeks in the season where I have games like Tuesday through Sunday. And it's like, oh, I have to be, as a reminder, sir, you must be here and stuff. But, and I, thinking about this though, and the fact that, this great thing I'll talk about at the end of the, later on in the show happened on a day where a relative had passed away, July 13th of 2017, 2018, or whatever it was when my grandmother from my mom's side passed away. And knowing that I have 4 people who've passed away on my forearm tattoo right here, I was kind of thinking, like, who though would I really want to hear though on Alexa? I mean, is it going to be my grandfather who was a DI in the Marine Corps for like 20 years and him chewing my ass out if I'm late to work or something? Or is it any of like my other grandmothers who passed away? But I think Isaiah's right though, that if it was like a one-time thing or like, the hologram ordeal, like of a relative, saying something about, hey, we're so proud of you for what you've done over your entire time, that'd be like a one-off. But if it's a consistent daily thing of like, oh, breaking news, sports story, or today's weather forecast, or a look at your schedule, and if it's one of my, deceased relatives, like on a daily basis, it would be more emotional, I think, as it goes on, more than it would be cool at the same time.
So Will saying, can I use someone else's relative? That's a fun way to mess with a visitor.
Oh,
it would be. That would be a crazy way
that would be.
to mess with a visitor. You use their dead relative's voice to put up.
Oh man.
Well, Brandon saying, Callan, how about hearing
Tony Gwynn. Now that I would probably say yes.
To Tony Gwynn? Yeah.
Yeah. Now, if it's like Tony Gwynn, if it's even Junior Seau, I'd say yeah. Because I mean, I could hear, like, listen to Tony Gwynn's laugh on loop all day. I mean, if you've never heard it, like you could just watch like some old interview and whatnot. But that I could probably agree with, but I still don't know about the relative though. That's a little. It's like, it's cool. Like Isaiah said, it's cool. But when it gets redundant, it kind of becomes more and more creepier and more depressing that they're not there with you.
All right, and then Ish is saying, good evening. Good evening, Ish. We hope you're having a good night. He's also saying, welcome back, Callan. And Isaiah, hope you found the Washington State stuff you were looking for. And, not really.
Go Huskies.
So I'm kind of in agreement with you guys on that one. Would it be cool for maybe that one-time thing?
Yes.
Yeah, but to me, I think it would really depend on the relative, because there was some relatives that I was like really, really close to that I think if you really heard over time, it would start to be kind of one of those emotional things. Now, do I really think that this is going to be a big hit?
No.
I really don't feel it will, because of the simple fact, like you said, it's the emotional part of it. That's what's getting me to think I don't think a lot of people are going to do it. I just don't think they are.
Yeah.
I would be shocked if Alexa came out and said, oh, this has been a smashing success that a lot of people are doing this. I'd be like, really? Okay.
I think you differ.
Well, everybody would be crying over time because
Exactly.
it's like, imagine you hearing your dead relative's voice, not once. Well, that one time would probably be super emotional, but then you hearing it every day, you're going to just like, imagine like you said, your dead grandmother's voice as your wake-up call. You're going to wake up just in tears because, you were so close to her. So, like, it would just be like a super emotional thing. But the one thing that, if this were to happen, it would be the most freakiest thing ever. And it would probably drive me to move from the Earth to Mars. And that is if they put Callan McClurg's voice and him, chewing my ass out on an Alexa, and it's like every time I'm supposed to wake up, he's like, wake up, Isaiah, wake up, or he's like I don't know, like, follow simple instructions, something like that. Like,
That was a very embarrassing
Simple instructions.
Yeah, if I bought this, or if I, ask, hey Alexa, who won the Kraken game? Follow simple instructions, Isaiah, for the last freaking time.
So Will is saying, how would that even work? My great-grandmother can't give me any information on the St. Louis Cardinals. She's never even said those words in her life. You know what?
Well,
That's really
I think they would. I think they would put it into the computer, and then it would be like voice generated.
Yeah, it probably
be,
would,
yeah.
but still, I'm telling you, it would be a little bit on the creepy side.
It's more creepy than it is cool.
Yeah,
Simple as that.
I'm definitely there with you. So, and hi Christy, how's it going tonight? We hope you're having a good night. Casey's also saying right now he's at the Dodgers and Angels game. So he was letting you know, Isaiah, he's currently there. And Isaiah would want Ronald McDonald on his Alexa.
Well, after this trip that I've been on, where I've been eating Denny's 4 out of 5 nights, I think Denny's has overtaken McDonald's as my favorite restaurant. Just saying.
Wait, didn't you send us a picture today that you were at IHOP today, or is that on your way to get L&L today?
It was on my way to get L&L, but what I didn't realize was this: the IHOP was on the right side, and the L&L was on the left side. So I basically went there. I kept walking, walked for about 40 minutes, about 1.8 miles. I kept walking. I was like, where's this L&L? Turned my phone, realized my Google Maps wasn't centered the right way, and it was all the way on the opposite side. So I had to go all the way back and walk 40 minutes and walk about 2 miles.
So Will actually just gave us a really good idea for a topic, and I think next week we're definitely going to do it. It's going to be cool or creepy, because he said that would be a fun segment. I think it would be. That would be a really fun segment. So I think next week that will be one of our topics. I will have some things we'll discuss.
I already have something already came to mind for that new segment.
All right. Well, afterwards, you can send me that, and we'll go ahead and we'll bring it up and we'll see what we think. All right. So how about we go ahead and jump into our next topic, which is, so there was a bus driver in Connecticut.
Oh boy.
Okay. That went to a pot store. Okay. Bought some gummies. And we know that when you go to a pot store and you buy gummies, you obviously know that it has THC in it. So he bought the gummies, ate half the bag of the gummies, okay, pulled over, passed out at the wheel, and he had like 37 passengers, right? The cops show up, arrest him, they take him in, and his story was, I didn't know that there was THC in the gummies. I had no idea. I didn't know that they were pot gummies. Exactly, right? I'm like, what? How did you not? And right there, they actually explained exactly, like on the package itself, it said that they were gummies that were infused with THC, and it said it right on it. So they got him for reckless endangerment after blacking out at the wheel for it. So, Callan, what's your thoughts on this THC and gummies?
The old saying of read the fine print. Simple as that. And goodness gracious. I mean, I'm glad nobody was hurt with this guy driving the bus. I mean, because he put down half of a bag, you said, of that?
Yeah, half a bag. Like they said he had like an astronomical amount of THC in his system, because he said he didn't realize. I'm like, but you went to a pot store and you bought the gummies.
Oh, my goodness.
So tell me, how could you not know?
Yeah, Will's right. How could you know? Don't you know all those cannabis stores sell normal snacks? Just had some delicious brownies from their last... Wait a minute. That's exactly what I think that guy was thinking.
Exactly. Like, I'm sitting here thinking, okay, why? Like, how would you not know? How would you not know? It says THC right on it. So
again, read the fine print.
Yeah, but do you think, Callan, like, honestly, if you were going to go into a store like that, wouldn't your first thought immediately be, okay, if I'm buying gummies here, there's going to obviously be THC in
There's going to be something in there.
There's going to be
or THC. There's going to be something in there, whatever it may be.
Yeah, and I'm telling you, like, to eat that much gummies, though, like, that is
half of a bag. I'm amazed he even made it out of the, even Just like utterly. I mean, I know he passed out, but it wasn't worse than what it could have been.
So Tim is saying schnozberries taste like schnozberries. Exactly. Of Super Troopers. I love that movie. It's great. And Tim wants Isaiah out of his state. He's saying, Isaiah, get out of my state.
Yeah, like, out.
Isaiah, where'd Isaiah go?
I don't know. Where did he go?
I'm going to guess technical difficulties.
What the heck happened to him? I don't know.
That could be a reason.
Or Isaiah realized that he went into one of those stores and bought gummies, and he's like, "Oh wait,
Yeah, it wasn't
Marijuana
L&L. It
gummies.
was something else.
he realized." He just
His
realized
store
what
is like,
happened.
Where is this store that has the marijuana gummies in them?
He
I-
just realized. No,
I don't
he
know.
said he's hopping back on here
Okay,
in a
cool.
minute. But all right, Christy, what's your thoughts on this situation with the gummies?
How could this guy have not known he was buying marijuana gummies if the thing's right on the label? It's like, come on now, dude. Really? You should have known when you're going to a pot store what you're getting into when you walk out, when you go into a place like that. You're either getting marijuana gummies, marijuana brownies, joints, pipes, you know the whole thing.
E-vapes.
eBay, exactly. Exactly.
I don't know, man, but it's like we said, some people are not always the smartest.
Yeah.
Not at all.
And unfortunately, with this situation, this guy was not.
I'm just
Was
glad that
he-
nobody was severely hurt, himself included, other than the fact he
Ugh.
down half of a bag.
Right. Well, yeah. I mean, they.
I'm going to
Get
assume
over
it's the
that
meaning
law.
of the phrase "bag secured"
Mm-hmm.
right.
or
Bag
being in my
secure,
bag.
right? Yeah. So just think though, like you would think after you eat a couple of them, you're sitting there and you're like, something doesn't seem so right. Like,
I mean,
but
like,
I'm gonna keep
I
eating
feel
these
absolutely, I feel completely normal now.
but I'm gonna eat these anyways, even though it doesn't seem so
Yummy.
right. I don't know.
Yummy.
Yum.
Yummy, right?
Yum. Yeah.
Why did I all of a sudden get so hungry?
Why does that bag of Ruffles potato chips look so damn good right now?
Yeah, crazy situation. That's all I can say.
Call them
Crazy
munchies.
situation. Crazy situation.
Wow.
Why did I order? Why did I order 33 Jack in the Box tacos last night?
Right?
Why did I order 3 hearty stick burgers and eat them in about 10 minutes?
That would probably be like one of the situations that even though you're driving a bus, you're like, hey, I know I'm supposed to be dropping you guys off somewhere, but I need to hit the drive-through because something's going on right now, and I
Why
need
did I
Stop
put
at
down a
Mickey D's and
quarter
pick up
pounder with
something else?
cheese and an Oreo McFlurry at 2:30 in the morning?
It gets like a
Right.
fillet of fish or something, about 4 of them maybe.
About 29 on Friday.
All right, Isaiah, what's your thoughts on this one?
I'm sorry.
You know, I don't really know what to think because it's like I feel like him going to the store and you know buying the gummy bears and the brownies is like you're in a weed store, dude. Like, come on, dude. It's literally plastered on the outside of the store in big letters. Like, are you kidding me? That you go into that store and not realize that it was weed gummies? Because I mean, what are they gonna sell? Like regular gummy bears? They sell Gatorade too. But I mean,
Wow.
if it was like if he was, you know, at a store that was, you know, that did not have weed on it, right? It was just a regular old store. Then I could just be like, okay, yeah. I mean, it's a honest mistake because I mean, it's happened to me before, you know.
What?
I hope
Wait, you've been in a
nobody-
weed store?
What regular store are you going to buy this type of gummies? They
Yeah.
don't sell this stuff at regular stores.
No,
No,
they
I
don't.
so here's the thing, and I hope that the people at AA is not watching this right now,
Like,
because
no.
you know they were very strict about their social media policy.
Yes.
But so back a couple years ago, and I hope my parents aren't watching this too.
maybe
back
too
a
late,
couple of
but
years-
maybe too late too.
Back a couple of years ago, I was working in Oakland, right? And my coworker, and I was complaining to my coworker. I was like, "When is my break? When is my break? My feet are swollen. My feet hurt.
It's me
The
every day.
A's are losing like 6-0. I want to take my break already. I'm hungry. I didn't get to. I only had my coffee before the game. I didn't get to eat any food beforehand. Like my stomach has nothing in it. It's growling." He was like, "Hey, I got a couple of brownies in a Ziploc bag. You want some?" I was like, "Oh yeah, sure thing." And I took a bite of it, and I was like, well, "Dude, what did you put in this brownie? It doesn't taste like a regular like chocolate fudge brownie." And he was like, "Oh yeah, there's marijuana in there." And I was like, "Are you freaking kidding me?" And I swallowed that thing, and I was like, "Oh yeah, I don't
God.
do that type of stuff. I'm sorry. If you have
Why would you
regular
just take a
brownies,
brownie? Why would you just take a brownie?
What?
Like if somebody offers me a brownie, I'm like, nah, bro, I'm good.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
good.
the same thing. Like, no, I'm fine. I'll just buy my
I'll
own drink.
pass. Unless
Yeah,
they
I was
clean
like- I was like,
security.
Yeah, right. I was like,
I
I'm
just get
good,
like
man.
the
I'm good.
Hostess brownies or something like that.
Yeah.
So Will is saying 33 Jack in the Box tacos is sober behavior, Callan.
Oh, I know. I've been there. Believe me. After a couple of long days drinking, believe me.
Oh God.
this reminds me of a story that I read the other day where a pilot actually got arrested because this dude, I guess he had I don't know, like 10 drinks inside his system, and then decided like, "Oh, I'm sober enough to get behind an aircraft and fly a private jet with a bunch of people on it." Long story short, nobody was hurt. Pilot didn't know what he was doing, where he was going, how to get to that place. He landed on a freaking highway.
Ah!
No joke.
Dear God.
So Will is also
That's
saying,
the drinks that
That's the
basically
last thing
tells
I
you
want to
no.
hear on a day where we had
No.
a Cessna plane land on a street in San Diego because they were running out of fuel, and they made an emergency landing on a street today in San Marcos. It's the last thing I need to hear.
Jesus.
so Will is also saying the classic pocket brownie, it gets me every time. Will's like, I fall for the pocket dog trick at every baseball game. And then Will, $2 hot dogs. How do you beat that?
I don't know.
You can't.
You can't.
$2 hot dogs,
Yeah, you can't beat it.
Take a piece and pass it on.
Yeah.
right?
No, just get a hot dog bun, put a sausage link in it.
That's
call
not
it
what
a day.
he's talking about,
That's
No,
not
Isaiah.
what he's
not talking
saying,
about beer-
Isaiah.
talking
That's
about
not what he's
sausage link with
saying.
beer brats. He's not
Nah.
talking about any of that
Not
stuff.
what he's
That's not
talking
what he's
about, sir.
No.
Something else.
I really hope you learn though that if somebody randomly comes up and offers you a brownie, your first answer
No.
should be
Just say no,
no.
thank you. I'll
Take
get
the
my
bait.
Do not.
Oh yeah,
take it.
I learned that. I'm not gonna take the bait.
You learned it. You learned the hard way, my friend.
Yeah.
At least you did that.
own. You learn the hard way. You never do it again.
No,
He
never
gave me
again.
more energized.
Never,
though,
ever,
when I was
ever, ever,
working.
ever.
Don't do it. Don't do
Never,
it.
ever.
Never do it.
No, not today. Not
No,
in my
no,
house.
Stick to
no,
coffee.
no,
I
sir.
stick
Don't
to
fall
coffee
for
at the end of the day.
So, moving on to our next one, they actually have a competition, and I was like, look, I'm into sports. They're trying to make this a sport, but like, hell no. Like that was like the first thing I was reading. So they're trying to get people to sign up for it, but it's called python hunting. And
What?
and so it's not actually like shooting them. It's they want to see how many people can actually collect pythons
With their
with
bare
their
hands.
With their bare hands. You have to go hunt them, sneak up on them, and try and grab the pythons.
Oh God. Sounds
So
scary.
I'm like, so Callan, is this something you would do?
No, it isn't. I mean, I'm not afraid of snakes, but I would not be one out there trying to hunt pythons, especially with how whether there's stories of them they've eaten people whole, they've eaten animal whole, they've eaten, what have you. I mean, I'm not really afraid of snakes, but this is something I would definitely not be signing up for. I'll watch it on television, but I'm certainly not signing up to do. No way, no way, no how.
No.
Yeah, but as you're watching it on TV, it'd be one of the things as you're watching, you're like, oh, that guy's so close, he's gonna, oh my God!
Yeah, maybe.
And the snake wraps itself around his leg.
Yeah.
Starts squeezing it.
Just maybe the play-by-play commentator. I can do my best golf. I can do like my best golf / pro wrestling voice for you. So there you go.
Right? I mean, the screen goes black, and then it comes back up, and they go, we'll be right back after these matches. We've had some
Technical
technical
difficulties.
The guy's like missing an arm or something.
Oh,
The show gets
God.
interrupted by the emergency alert system.
And Isaiah looked like he was about ready to spit up his drink there for a second.
So Will saying, I need Callan and I calling PvP for Python. Hunting.
Yes, let's go, baby. Let's go. I am in. Let's go. Sign
I
me
can
up.
imagine. I can imagine how that goes. There he is. He's going left. He sees the Python. He's going for it. He's got it. He's got it.
My God, he's got it.
He's got it. He's got it.
My witness, that is amazing.
The snake wrapped around his legs. Oh
No.
gosh.
Oh boy,
Help.
McClurg and Polston doing play-by-play and color together. Holy cow, let's go.
Oh.
Damn.
Especially
Legendary
on
duo.
Python hunting.
There you go.
Especially on Python hunting.
And I'm
That
Python
would-
hunting.
Jeez.
I would
be
turn it over to
great.
Mr. Poston. Give us your analysis on why the snake decided to wrap the guy's leg up.
Cut off the circulation.
I just personally don't think it's something that I would be doing.
No,
Like,
absolutely not.
I wouldn't watch it either.
Seriously, absolutely not. I would not sign up to actually do that, though.
I can't believe they actually get people to sign up for it. Is the crazy?
Oh, there's people crazy enough as we know out there to do this stuff.
Some people crazy appear.
Yeah, you probably have that one guy
Mhm.
that the guy's like, yeah, well, I caught 5, and the guy's like, all right, hold my beer, I'll catch 6, and I'll do it without a shirt on. You know, I'm gonna go with shorts, and I'm not gonna wear gloves, and
Oh,
I'll show
God.
you. And it's like,
Choke slam.
My
Right.
God.
yeah, it's like that's what happens. That's when people get into those situations.
Mhm.
Every
Thrill
time.
seekers.
Situations every time.
Classic
always-
thrill-
People,
Classic
thrill
we're in
seeker.
a society where you have to one up somebody every day for some reason.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah,
So-
you got
always.
5, fine. I'll do 6. But
Oh. Dear
better
God.
idea. So Will saying better idea. Mic up the hunters.
Ooh, that'd be
Do
interesting.
we want to hear? Do we really want to hear them talking while they're
Yeah,
saying,
that would be
I'm
cool.
looking. It's like, ooh, it's like here, Python.
That would actually be. I think that would be really cool. Actually, to have them mic'd up.
It's like
So
when the NFL like mics up like the running back or something like that, and you hear them dropping f-bombs all over the place.
Now, where's the censor button at?
Where's the censor button? Beep.
so Isaiah, I really want to know. And
Oh God.
Isaiah would probably be the one on this group that would probably say he would do it. So
He's like,
Isaiah,
I can catch
let
a
me ask you,
python.
what's your thoughts on python hunting?
Ace, I really want to ask you, have you been like, did you take a drone and secretly follow what I've been doing in Seattle? Did you get a drone and follow my adventures? Because literally every topic, right, that we've talked about has something or close to something with what I've got going up here. And what I mean by that is the
You
other day I
told me
went to
python hunting in
No.
Seattle. What?
no, I didn't do python hunting, but
Okay, I'm like,
I went to downtown Seattle, right? I went to the
Mhm.
pier, right? And you know how at the pier there's a lot of weird, crazy stuff that's going on, like people driving 1960 automobiles, and you know you got to pay $15 for a ride on that thing. Well, I brought $50 with me that day, so I was like, you know, I gotta do something unique, right? Because I want to go on a trip, and I don't want to just do the ordinary stuff. I gotta make this trip special. I gotta make it stand out. So there were 2 guys that were standing at the pier, Jose and Marcos. Those were their names, I believe, because it was on their signs. And their sign said, "Take a selfie with a real life snake for $10." And they legit had pythons and a yellow snake wrapped around their neck and their arm. They were legitimately holding it. I wish I had a picture to show you guys, but it's in my phone.
Oh,
But
jeez.
I was like, I walked by them and I was like, at first I was like, are those real snakes? And then the second thing I said was, I have $50 on me. You know, I got $10 to spare. It would be super cool to, like, you know, put a snake on my arm and just flex and be like, look at that snake on my arm right now, man. I really wanted to do that. I was so tempted to do it. But then, a part of me was like, what if the snake, while you're hanging it from your arm, what if he bits you and you're going to be drop down there, and you're gonna be stuck in a state that you don't know. So I was like, kind of weighing it.
Did you legitimately just say bits?
Yes.
No,
He
it's
did.
bits.
He
Did
said
you
it.
say bits,
Bits,
you?
like instead of
Yeah, they have
bites.
teeth. They have little teeth.
No.
on
It's
them.
bites, not bits.
Bites.
Yeah,
It's bites.
there's another wild Isaiah take right there. Bits, not bites.
Are we like eating some bacon bits or what the heck is going on here? Like,
Kibbles and bits.
Freaking bits.
it's
But you know what?
Kibbles and bits and bits and bits.
If I had a lot of coffee in me, I would do it. I would do it for sure.
Of course you would.
I would try to
Of course
do
you
it.
would.
I
Yeah.
wanted
You
to take a
would. You know,
picture with the snake.
Isaiah, you would be that person that
Yeah.
like is
You'd be like,
easy,
Python?
is easily influenced. So I know this person would come up to Isaiah and be like, "Hey, it's a great idea," and Isaiah would be like, "Okay,
Okay.
I'll do it.
what can go wrong? What can go wrong?"
Plenty.
Snake bites him in the face.
And then you see, and that's when you see Isaiah's picture on the news.
Oh no. Where
NorCal
a man
bitten
bitten
in
by
face-
python,
bitten
his
in
face is
face
swollen
by
to the size of a
snake
bowling
in
ball.
Seattle. New at 11 with eyewitness accounts.
So Will is saying, "I was just typing what if it bits you?" Question mark. I'm
Nice.
glad you all
Really
caught it.
But since we're on the topic of hunting, I've always wanted to go hunting. Like I've always wanted to go hunting for
Okay,
birds.
when you hunt,
No.
I want nothing. I want to be
I'm
nowhere.
staying
near
100 feet away from you when that happens.
I
That's
just
what I
want
want to
sure?
do. I want to go
Are
hunting.
you sure you want to be within 100 feet?
1,000 feet.
It's like that might be. That
A
might be.
million
Yeah.
feet.
Could you
That might
imagine
be- I
Isaiah
wanna
in
be an
camo
acre
with a
away from him. How
rifle?
about that?
I think not.
100
Well-
acres away from him.
Yeah.
I did play archery back in a high school camp, right?
You
So
don't
I think I
play
have perfect
archery.
target.
It's called you shoot archery, Isaiah. You
Yeah,
don't play,
Isaiah,
the,
it's
you
not-
don't play it.
Dude,
You
It's
don't
not
play
like
it.
playing
You
a video game. You don't
Yeah.
like link up archery to where you're playing a video. It's
right.
you shoot
You
archery.
shoot archery.
Shoot.
More
Archery
coffee. Give me
is
another
a
cup of
bow and
coffee.
arrow.
Yeah, he needs more coffee.
It's a bow and arrow. That's what
I swear
archery
he's gonna
is.
be loaded on. He's gonna be totally loaded on caffeine.
Give me
by
my
the end of this
6th cup of
show.
coffee.
And this is a guy who might work at Alaska Airlines.
Right.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
No.
Yeah, it's not gonna happen.
Yeah.
Yeah,
If
because
you
when he's
see
on
him,
the
be like,
when
no.
he's on the PA mic announcing destinations, and he's watching a stupid hand-aid game, and his team loses, and and then he gets on the mic and starts yelling.
Well, I mean, if you think that's bad, I mean, I already got in trouble, and we haven't even officially started yet.
Oh God.
So Will is saying Isaiah would turn himself into the hunted if he
Yes.
comes by my
Yes.
deer.
It'd be like the Hunger Games, and Isaiah's the target.
And to this day, Isaiah still thinks that the Hunger Games was the movie Die Hard.
Yeah, he still
Yeah.
does.
Yeah,
He's
still.
mistaking. He thought Bruce Willis was in it.
Still, but if you watched the show last week when we talked about presidents, he tried. He tried his
He tried.
best, and he mentioned presidents and said, Benjamin Franklin,
I heard that.
and
Wrong.
then said Jack Ford. We're like, who the heck
What?
is Jack Ford?
Yeah,
I've heard of Gerald Ford, but not Jack Ford.
Not that other name.
No.
I was like, who the heck is Jack Ford?
And then I said like
Yeah.
Jimmy Reagan or something. I got
yeah,
like
he said Jimmy
Ronald
Reagan.
Reagan.
and
He said
Reagan.
Jimmy
Yes,
Reagan.
exactly. I watched and he said that. I'm like, wait, do you mean Ronald Reagan?
Yeah, he
Oh.
said
And
Jimmy,
he said Jimmy
Reagan.
Reagan. Right.
Wow.
So, anyways,
Insulting a former Hollywood star and California state governor.
let
And
me ask you,
40th president of the United States of
would
America.
you do python hunting?
Me? No.
Yeah. No.
No, because I'm terrified of snakes. Pythons scare the living daylights out of me. As do boa constrictors and cobras and other snakes. I just no. They're creepy. They're slimy. I don't like them. I don't even care if anybody has them as a pet. I don't
And-
want anything to do with them.
And yes, Isaiah did say that. He did say he wanted to dive off the Space Needle. He did say that. He's
What?
done some
What?
So
Where's John Alcorn?
Isaiah,
to
let
say
me-
that. What?
let me tell you this, okay? Now I know last week you desperately wanted to try so hard to name all these presidents.
Mm-hmm.
Then people
Oh,
ask me if I could do it. I'll tell you, I can't. So with that, I'm not gonna try. Like if you can't do it, don't even try if you can't do it. It just makes yourself look even worse if you can't do it.
All right.
Like,
Was it Arnold Schwarzenegger a president too?
No,
he
he
was
was
the
the governor of
California.
California.
Governor.
Isaiah, jeez.
governor.
He can't run for president.
The
because that's his
governor.
country.
The
He's from
governor,
Austria.
California.
Oh my gosh.
California.
Okay. Well, moving on now. I watched this interesting documentary
Mm-hmm.
the other day because I kind of always heard mixed reactions about this Airbnb.
Yeah.
So this documentary was like really interesting how people actually talked about how they rented out their homes,
Right.
yeah.
and they're supposedly supposed to do a thorough background check.
Right.
But I don't think the background check is like all that good. And people
Mhm.
talked about how they come back and their homes are just completely, utterly destroyed.
Oh,
And
yeah.
so I was like, Catlin, would you ever stay at a Airbnb? I don't think I personally would. I don't think I would, but
I would never have my home. I would never. I don't think my parents would ever put it on the market for it to be an Airbnb. But if I was to stay at one, though, I would. But I wouldn't be that person who would trash someone else's property. I mean, I would try to, leave it at, the old saying of, leave it as you found it. It'd be, leave as you found it, but, maybe with, and then some, maybe, vacuum the floors for them or clean the windows for them, do the dishes for them,
Mhm.
do something to kind of take a load off their plate while they're away or, or what have you. And I know that a good friend of mine, Austin Burke, who is a, rising country music star in Nashville, him and his wife just like finished off their like Airbnb, but mainly for like bachelor parties or bachelorette parties, I mean. And they did a lot of work to it, and that they have, begun, renting that house out to mainly bachelorette parties in Nashville where they're both living. But in terms of like staying in one, I would, because I've seen that they're fairly cheap, but also I would keep in mind that, okay, I'll do it, but you're going into someone else's house, don't bring your pets, don't, respect their rules, if need be, don't walk in with your shoes on, take them off, leave them outside. And if need be again, maybe go up a level or two and just, kind of left it as you found it, but maybe do more, like I said, maybe vacuum the dish, vacuum the floor, or, just something to kind of, leave it as you found it. And maybe like as a small shred of common decency, which we don't have a lot of left in this world, leave it as you found it, and then maybe go above and beyond a little bit and take a load off their plate, maybe.
I agree with you. I just know that this documentary I watched, just the most interesting thing about what people have walked back into.
Oh, I can only
when they
imagine.
come back to their
Same here.
home. Like one couple came back and they said, like, when they walked in, like, it looked like a massive orgy has happened in their house because they said there was condoms everywhere. They said they had an abundance of condoms in their bed even.
Oh,
Gee,
oh,
Yeah.
Oh. No.
So Will is saying, I just went and stayed in an Airbnb with Amber and Meridia to catch the Braves Cards
Marietta.
series.
Marietta,
And
Georgia.
Marietta. They gave us a parking pass for the stadium, gave us restaurant recommendations, and even tried to get us free tickets. We stripped the bed of the sheets and started them in the washer. 10 out of 10 experience. You know what? That's awesome, though.
It's amazing.
That's awesome. Yeah, when people go that extra mile like
Mhm.
that, that's
Yeah.
awesome.
Most definitely.
very cool.
So but if people were more like that, I think that the experiences would be a lot better, and then people would not be so afraid to like put their homes out there
Yeah.
as an Airbnb.
And I can see why people would be reluctant to do so because of, like you said, Adam, again, condoms all over the house, or maybe a broken window, the TV gets stolen, the couches, they don't clean up after themselves. They just kind of leave it like a hellhole, basically. So, I mean, what Will is saying, though, is amazing. They gave them, the parking pass for the game and the restaurant recommendations, and that kind of in a way, though, as well, that Will kind of said that they may have like done like that, like one extra thing of like, cleaning the bed sheets for them after that they use them, so, that's what mainly it should be used for, but not for what, people do nowadays.
Yeah.
Right. So, Christy, have you ever stayed at an Airbnb, or would you like rent your place out for?
Me personally, I've never stayed in an Airbnb, and my husband and I would never rent our house out as an Airbnb.
Yeah,
But,
I don't blame you.
yeah, but with Airbnb, I've never done it. But I would do what Cal would say. What Cal said was, just be respectful, keep the place clean, and even go the extra mile, like clean the bed sheets or make sure the dishes are washed and put away, mop the floor if you have to. Just make sure it's nice and clean, and whoever rented the house as Airbnb, they have a nice place to come back home to.
All right, Isaiah, how about you?
Well, I agree with you guys. I think that the people that trash the house, they should be utterly ashamed of themselves. And if I were that family, I would take their contact info and I would sue them, to be honest with you, because of all the property damage that you did to my property. Because also, I mean, I think I watched the same documentary as you, Ace, in which, or I think I watched a different one, but there was one instance where a guy came back to his house, glass was shattered all over the place, and it was just, and the toilet was broken in half. Like, how do you break the toilet in half? It makes no sense whatsoever. So, like, if in that instance, if I was that property owner, I would for sure sue the person. But in terms of Airbnbs in general, I've heard a lot of people talk about it, and I've stayed in like one or two, but it was mostly like the property owner was there, but he was living on another property at that property place, and we were living like either on the second floor or we were living in another building or in another like house that was like separate, but it was in the same property. So and they gave us like free towels and soaps and all that stuff, which was really kind of them. So I mean, that was great, but for me, I'm not really like that comfortable, because I personally like to stay in a hotel better, since I'm not really like the kind of guy that likes to stay in someone's house, because it's like you're living, like, how some Airbnbs, you're literally living in the same house as that person. You walk by them all the time. It's just like kind of like a weird, awkward moment. And also, I would not stay in an Airbnb, because I know myself, and I know that I'm not really the cleanest person in the world. I mean, look at my hotel room right here.
Oh, slob.
I mean,
It's messy.
Like, legitimately, when it comes down to it, though, like, you can look on the other hand, though, too. In this documentary, it also showed people who were going to stay at these places, who then came back in and was like, "Hey, what they advertised on this Airbnb is nothing like they advertised." One guy's like, I go in there thinking, because they had advertised for this huge place and these big rooms. He's like, I go in there and my room was like in this tiny little closet, and then they had another one, and so he's like, it was nothing like that was completely advertised. So sometimes you do get that, to where the advertisement isn't what it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
And so Will's saying a lot of people do what these folks did, and just rent out a room of their home while they stay upstairs or down the hall. Cheapest way for the consumer and easiest way to make sure bad stuff doesn't go down. Absolutely.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
All right, so we're at that point now. I will save this topic for another time, because we're kind of running short on time, and I want Callan to be able to get his experience in there. So we'll go ahead and save that last 10 minutes for Callan to kind of talk about his experience as the PA for the Angels. And my first question for you, Callan, is exactly why was it only like a one-time gig? Was like the other person sick, or what the heck happened? How all that go down?
Yeah, I will try to fit all this in 10 minutes. I mean, and you probably know I'm not the best at keeping things under a certain time frame. But I guess the Cliff Notes version of how this opportunity fell into my lap is, it wasn't because the announcer was sick. It was actually both the main announcer and the backup they both had prior obligations away from the ball club. Michael Araujo, who's been the public address announcer for the Angels, I believe since 2013, 2014. He also does public address for the LA Galaxy of Major League Soccer. He's been there since basically since day one in 1996.
Ooh.
And Mike already had a game with the Galaxy in Carson, which is about 17 miles south of downtown Los Angeles. And then Phil Hewlett, who I've known for a long time. Phil is also the main Anaheim Ducks PA announcer and has been the longtime backup for the Angels. Phil was doing late night television for one of the late night shows and couldn't be there. And it just happened to work out where it was a former or a boss of mine up in Anaheim with the Ducks who moved over to the Angels last baseball season, who knew me from my time with on the hockey side, but also had known that I was a baseball announcer. I had done, college games, and I've done PA and stuff like that. So it kind of just like fell into my lap because of the main two horses in the stable not being able to be there. It's just kind of how this all started and how it kind of took off from there.
Oh, all right.
Nice.
Is there opportunity to kind of do it again? Is that?
Probably there would be if they found themselves in probably a similar type of pickle, where if both announcers were not able to be there, whether Mike had a soccer game and Phil had something going on, that would probably be the next time that would probably happen. Because I don't think that, because I think that the only other team who rotates announcers like that is Boston. And I think the Mets have like 2 or 3 different public address announcers, because usually it's one per team. But sometimes, when there's scheduling and there's stuff like that. So I believe that Marisol Castro and Colin Cosell, Howard Cosell's grandson, they both do the Mets. And I think that Marisol does it on certain days and then Colin does other days. Because I think that Marisol is doing or still does morning news, I think, on WPIX in New York. Yeah. And Colin does games here, and then she'll do games here. And then I think the Red Sox have like 2 or 3 that I think kind of rotate every so often too. I might be wrong about that, but I think they have like 2 or 3. But mainly it's one per team, but usually there's backups in case, like in Mike's case that he's doing soccer one day and then Phil comes in. But in this case, it just happened to be, the opportunity just happened to fall. The dominoes all fell into my lap because, Mike already had soccer and then Phil was away doing late night television.
I can imagine like what it was like to actually announce Ohtani's name.
Yeah, it's just hard to still describe it because of what he has done for the game single-handedly. I know I talk about Tatis Jr. with the Padres and I talk about Vlad Jr. with the Blue Jays, but then Ohtani is a enigma. And when I found out that I was going to do the game, and then actually even before that, when I got an email from the Angels ticket department saying Ohtani's pitching Wednesday, and then just thinking, wait a second. If all this works out, you mean to tell me the first ever Major League game I'm going to announce is that Ohtani's going to be on the mound pitching and probably batting leadoff for the Angels that night? And then as soon as the email came that said, game is yours on Wednesday, I'm like, okay, how are we going to do this? And that was the second time I got to see him throw in person. But seeing him, though, from that up close from where I was sitting, and hearing the glove pop from the second level of Angel Stadium, and then seeing him at the plate, though, is just utterly crazy, and that we've never have seen this in our lifetime in Major League Baseball.
I think I was thinking about this too. I was kind of talking with the wife about it, and I was like, I think probably the weirdest, I would say, maybe experience for you would have been if they gave you the game, but right before, if you would have looked at the schedule, realized they were playing the Padres, that would have been rough. That would have been so rough.
Yeah, no, it was funny actually. Big B actually is the one who brought that up in a post-show call, I think on Thursday or Friday. And he said, how would that have felt for you if your first ever major league game was both of your favorite teams playing in Anaheim?
Oh my God.
And, how would it be having to announce your team, but in a very like monotone, bland, boring, and like depressed voice, but having to be, loud and happy for Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I told Brandon, I said, that's just the line of work is that, yeah, you have your favorite teams, but if that was the case, then you have to just, cut that cord.
Right.
Like, yeah, I know the Padres are my team, but the Moreno family's paying me. The Los Angeles Angels are paying me. So, yes, that would have been weird, though, having to say, third baseman, number 13, Manny Machado. But then super pumped up then, by saying, center fielder, number 27, Mike Trout. That would have been, definitely would have been interesting. But thankfully it didn't work out that way. It happened to be the Astros and things like that. So it wasn't any other team I liked. It wasn't the Padres, or it wasn't like the White Sox or, Boston or whatever. It was Houston. So it was like, okay, that's par for the course, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, at least you got to do that. So I think that's even cool that you got to do that. I mean, that was kind of.
Yeah, I mean, the build up to Wednesday was kind of. I mean, I'll admit. I mean, I didn't sleep good the past. I didn't sleep good on Monday. I didn't sleep good. And I did not sleep good on Tuesday. Because on Tuesday I went up to Angel Stadium and I went to Shadow that day, so I got to meet the whole cast and crew. And again, I want to thank Davin Mask and Mandy Ortiz and the entire Angels organization for the chance, though. But I think I was working with at least, I'd say, 10 to 15 people, and that includes all of the. And when I say the whole crew, I mean, that's everybody putting on the show that you see. That's including the camera operators, the replay guys, the scoreboard, graphics department, the official scorekeeper, the stat keepers, the DJs, the music people, and all those folks who make the in-game experience, that much better for fans. And sitting there on Tuesday, and then, Mike, such a great, guy, and I've known him for such a long time. And, he really didn't have to and I think the beauty of it is that he didn't really have to fully, teach the whole day, the whole night, because he knew, he knows or knew that I knew baseball. I know baseball. I played the game and stuff. But, there's, certain things though that you have to, note is that, hey, when there's pitching changes, they're sponsored by one company. We're sponsored by this company, and things like that. And, ad-libbing during certain stuff. So, Tuesday was the free day to just, kind of, watch and, whatnot. And then, and like I said, I didn't sleep good, Tuesday night because it was just, a lot of emotions. And I wrote this, and I think if anyone follows me on Instagram, probably read my lengthy, essay that I wrote, because it was a full circle story. I went to my first ever major league game up at then Edison Field when I was 3.5 years old, going on 4 in April of '98 when the Angels played the Yankees. And, that's where I saw my first ever game. And it was before I saw a game in San Diego, which is, very weird for a guy who's born and raised in San Diego. But, the Padres, I don't think were at home when I went to that game. But, regardless, that was like a true full circle moment to be able to say that the first ever major league game you do, it was with the first ever team you remember watching as a toddler still, 3.5-year-old going to the game. And then again, how much that the Angel organization has meant to me because of that day and things like that. And, and I've been to that stadium so many times. And when they won the World Series 20 years ago, we were all rooting for them so heavily because as often as we've gone to Disneyland, and I didn't know that they were owned by Disney back at that time, them and the Ducks both. And, that's when my parents kind of made me become a fan of both teams because, they had to keep telling me over and over, they're both, they play where Disneyland is at. So when the Angels came back for the first time, I think, or like the second time to San Diego in 2015, I think, I remember writing a caption, oh, we're playing the Angels, or we're playing the team where Disneyland's located, I think is what I wrote, or something like that. But, the whole experience was everything I thought it would be and then some. And I think it was just more fulfilling for me to be able to, have mom and dad there, and my uncle was there, and a bunch of my friends came up from San Diego kind of at the last minute. I think there was a group of like maybe 5 or 8 people who showed up, and a bunch of my friends who are ushers at the ballpark or are Angel fans who were at the game. And, and not just that though. And, and I was, I'll admit I was a little choked up actually going up on my way to the ballpark on Wednesday because of everyone on this panel and everyone who's watched and everyone who tuned in on Wednesday. And again, I wasn't actually on television. I think that's the more confusing part about my job, or at least that night, is I wasn't actually on the Bally Sports West or Root Sports broadcast. I was in the background talking to the folks in the ballpark. That's what people, I think, forget about the PA side and the play-by-play side, is when you're doing the PA, you're the voice that everyone's hearing at the arena or at the ballpark. And that's, and I think just, and I think that's what made the night go a little bit smoother, was just, you guys on the panel. And I think everyone who's commenting, everyone who's watching, just reading, your messages all day, from the time I got to the station, then I got on board and I began. And when the train left for Anaheim, that's, and that's a 2-hour trip from here up to Anaheim, and, having to find a way to pass the time and, keep the calm, the nerves calm, because I left around noon and got up there about 2:10 in the afternoon. And then I was sitting in the ballpark from 2:30 till the game was over. But, reading, everyone's comments and all the messages I got, and the text messages and even the phone calls I got, and I wasn't answering because, once I kind of get myself into my zone, it's tunnel vision. I don't let anything, really interfere. And, just passing the time though, but reading everyone's comments, and then, sharing the photos and the video that I got, and all that stuff. And then I think what made the night better though was that the Angels won the game. It would have been kind of a, not really like bad if they lost, but I think it kind of, it made the trip, I guess, worthwhile, but also I think it made the night that much sweeter, because I think it would have been one thing for them, or one thing to, I've done the game, but they lost and kind of, what have you. But I, and I really don't get, very nervous. I mean, I still get the butterfly, but it's not like if it's butterflies, it's not like the nervous ones. It's more the nervous excitement. Like I tell Isaiah, like the nervous excitement of like, I'm going to the, we're back at the ballpark today, let's go out there and get a win though. And you're more fired about the game though. But in this case though, single-handedly, this is the single greatest event I've ever done in my career. And that's, 13 years going on 14 years in a couple of weeks in August when the college season begins though. But this is easily the biggest one, because this was my first actual Big 4, Big 5, Big 6 sporting event that I've done. And to have it be in Major League Baseball, in a sport that has, paid me back so many times over my 28 years on this planet, in my 13-year career as a broadcaster, in my 10 to 15-year time, career playing the game, and to be rewarded in this fashion, and to again see, the greatest players in the baseball world again, regardless what anyone thinks out there, but like Altuve and Bregman and Ohtani and Trout on Tuesday before he got hurt. And, and again, just, I think more rewarding, I think, seeing a team who I've been a fan of, but also now on the other side, though, a real first-class organization. And I'm not just saying that just to, not saying that just to say that, but that the Angel organization in my mind is a real first-class organization. And I say that because of the people I worked with directly. Again, Davin and Mandy and JoJo and the entire, group that we were working with, behind the scenes that make the game experience that much better for the fans, and to let them, bring someone in, not from the Orange County area, someone, someone in another baseball market in San Diego, but on the opposite side, though, again, American League, National League, but to bring someone in, though, from that, aspect, I guess. And, being able to do that was just so amazing and stuff. And, it's gonna take me a long time to kind of come off that Cloud Nine feel, and I'm still on it. And we're going into Sunday pretty soon. I'm going to the Padre game on Sunday as a fan, but it's hard to kind of detach it because there's you always remember the first one, and the first one's always going to be July 13th, 2022, and just again, just being able to work for, again, what I really feel like is a first-class organization who, really, I think, looks out for their employees, looks out for everyone, who looks out for the people who are wearing their logo on their polos or on their hats, and things like that. And also quickly, and I'll be frank, leading up to from Thursday until Wednesday, I was, and I really kind of hate to say this though, but for 5 or 6 days, or from Thursday till Wednesday, I actually did not watch the Padres play at all because I was really focused on just the Angels, just making sure I knew the roster. I knew who, the guys' names, how they wanted them pronounced, how they were supposed to be pronounced, and whatnot, and kind of keeping tabs on the Astros though I knew them very well, or know both teams very well. But literally, I blocked out anything that didn't involve the Angels, the Astros, or baseball for 5 straight days. And that normally doesn't happen because right now I'm prepping for the college seasons and prepping for when hockey comes back. But for 5 straight days or 4 straight days, I blocked everything else out of my mind. I was just solely devoted to Angels and Astros and Major League Baseball because of this opportunity. And one of the things I wanted to throw in though too, and Adam, you brought up about the Airbnb stuff though. The Angels are celebrating the 20th anniversary of their World Series team from 2002, and there was actually a documentary that Tim Salmon narrated when the club turned 50 years old in 2011. And I told this to Brandon and John and James and Isaiah either last night or the night or Friday, but I was very taken aback though by a lot of the interviews that they did with a lot of the former Angel players like Bobby Grich and Rod Carew, who my dog's named for, and Don Baylor and Buck Rogers and Dean Chance, about how those players, and again, I've never heard this ever from any player ever in my time as a sports fan or a sports broadcaster, but I was just so taken back though by hearing these guys though, legendary Angel players again, saying how much they wanted to win, but how much they wanted to win for Gene Autry, the original owner of the organization, because Gene, devoted so much time and effort to making that team what they were at one point, back in the 60s into the 70s until they made the postseason, until he passed away. That was just more what was so startling, more taken back though about that. But in turn, though, Colin Cosell actually told me to keep all my documentation. So I kept I have my script here from the game. I know you can't see, the script.
That's
I have
cool.
that. I have I have both the lineup sheets I used.
Mm-hmm.
These are Google Google sheets.
Ooh, that is awesome.
Yeah, so they're all written. They're torn, so you can't tell. But like I said, though, I had to write which who sponsors each pitching change, because the visiting team is Coca-Cola, the Angels are Postmates. So I had to write that in there, and then I also kept a couple of the scorebook sheets that I kept though too. So all these are going to be framed eventually and stuff, and a couple pictures are going to be framed though too. So I mean, I wish Adam was here. There's Adam.
He's back.
But I mean, Adam, I just showed them, man. I kept all my documentation from the game. So I kept the script, I kept the scorebook, and I kept my two lineup cards that I filled out too along the way.
I like it, buddy. I like it.
That's
You know
so
what? We
awesome.
definitely want to thank you for sharing that amazing story. So we definitely want to say thank you and congratulate you on that awesome job. We definitely look forward to hearing you more coming up in some more stadiums. So we really, really do
Not on Alexa though.
hope.
Yeah, hopefully not an Alexa. But by the way, I will say, just shameless plug though, I did get some footage of me video-wise from the game that will be on my YouTube channel by the night's end, though. Now, however, though, some of the quality is not very good because apparently my phone's selfie camera is not very good. But thankfully, my man Christian Allen was at the game, though he's a Dodger fan, but he was there to root against the Astros. But he has a video though that I shared on my Instagram feed though of the lineup for the Angels from the seating bowl, so you'll get the actual like in stadium sound, not from where I was sitting in the press box though. And I have a bunch of other video though from friends that was shared to me, so that'll all be compiled though by the night's end though and put on YouTube probably later tonight, maybe tomorrow. But again, it was everything I thought it would be, and then some. And I look forward to sharing more with this with Four Bros though on Monday. I think is what we're shooting for right now.
All right. Well, thank you very much. So we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. So Isaiah, any final thoughts?
Yeah, my final thoughts is, man, after hearing Callan's speech, it makes me want to go further and cry. But, man, it makes me pumped up. Like, all things are possible. But, my final thoughts is I want to thank all of our viewers for tuning in. I know we had like a boatload of viewers for tuning in. I think Will hasn't tuned into a show in a while, so it's good to see him back.
Attaboy, Polston.
Yes.
Let's go.
Ishmael, let's see. We had Sarge. Sarge, I am in your city right now. I'm not in your city, but I'm in your state. But don't worry, I'll be moving in a couple of days. So I will be out of your hairs fairly soon. But you might want to keep that cell phone of yours on red alert because I know I'm going to probably be stranded in Seattle again. And also,
instead of sleepless in Seattle, it's going to become stranded in Seattle.
Yeah, I'll be stranded in Seattle. Exactly. I want to thank Big B as well for tuning in, and I think we had a couple of other viewers. Oh, Casey King as well. Can't forget about him. And yeah, I think that's about it. I want to thank Callan and Christy for coming back on. We haven't had them on in so long, so it's great to see them back. And the last final thought that I would say is that. I'm in Seattle, right? I have everything AL West related, A's, Angels, Rangers, all that stuff.
No.
No, please don't. Please don't.
It doesn't fit for this. And also, shout out to Alaska Airlines for being partners with the Kraken and giving me a puck. And even though I don't know what to do with it, I'm not really that good at hockey, but
I guess a memento on a bookshelf.
I guess I'm a fan now, but you
weren't even a fan of the Sharks.
No.
What
gives?
That means, a fan of the Kraken.
I guess the Mariners won their 13th straight game tonight, but since Isaiah has a hat now, they're cursed. So
all we do is win up here in Seattle.
Says the guy who bought a youth hat for his dome.
Yes, it doesn't. It looks like it doesn't fit the head.
To get it.
All right. So, and then Christy, any final thoughts for
thanks for letting me come on, and thank you, Cal, for sharing that. That just sounds like a really, really awesome experience you had at the Angels game. It really was.
All right, and Callan, thank you for coming on. Thank you for sharing your story. So I hope you had a good time tonight and some wonderful topics. It's actually one of the funner shows that I've got to do in a while. So it was definitely a lot of fun. So I
can't beat him in trivia again.
So thank you very much, Callan.
We'll see.
So thank you very much. And we will see everybody next Saturday for another episode of Kicking It with Isaiah and Ace. Have a great night.